Why do you think it's important for women to join the tech and BPO industries?
I believe women should be involved in all industries.
Absolutely.
That is something that I really believe in and I'm very outspoken about. But specifically about tech and the BPO industry, which is what I do for a living, I think it has become one of the most changing industries worldwide, and jobs are always evolving, and they translate into growing experiences professionally and personally, and they come with new challenges for any woman out there. These type of challenges, they represent a lot of growth.
Hi there, folks. My name is Lauren Taggart, and thank you for joining us today. I'm head of key accounts here in ThinScale Technology. Today, Diana Monterrubio from Teleperformance is joining me in our Executive Women in BPO and Tech series. Diana, thank you for joining me. Lovely to see you again today. Diana, you might just kick off our conversation today by telling us a little bit about Teleperformance and your role within it.
Hi, Lauren. Well, thank you so much for inviting me today. And sure, of course, Teleperformance is one of the largest BPOs around. We provide services in over 170 countries, roughly. And we've actually grown to 380K employees worldwide. So, in a few words, it's big. And my role is basically to negotiate everything technology related. So, with vendors, manufacturers, everything related to PCs, laptops, hardware, and software, that's what I do.
Diana, having worked with you personally over the past few months, I've seen the benefit, the procurement in Teleperformance as a BPO and what it brings. You might just talk us through your approach when it comes to procurement, just for the rest of the folks listening on the call.
I think procurement adds value in many ways, but we actually try to assure operational efficiency with negotiations. So we don't put at risk any quality. We want to enable actually to have the best quality possible, but do it. We try to do it by cost optimization. So we negotiate, we try to reduce costs, we try to do everything as organized as possible in order to get standardization involving negotiations globally.
If it's fair to say, Diana, I see yourself sitting really in the epicenter of Teleperformance. So being in that position, what are your views on global trends for BPOs?
Feels like I'm in the eye of the hurricane when you put it like that. Well, I believe there are many trends right now, and some trends are new and some have stuck throughout the years. So I procure technology. So what I can say is that, for instance, everything cloud related has proven to be a very good investment and a great way to actually think about the future and what comes with all the telecommunications that we're having right now. So for us, also Cloud Campus, that is related, of course, to cloud computing, is our work at home solution. We were actually working on this before the pandemic hit. So when it hit, we had to do it faster, but we sort of had something to work with. And I've started to see these trends being more and more efficient, and they are being utilized all over the world more and more. So I would say all the technology that is related to cloud and working from home, and they have opened a new door for a lot of automatization, information technology, security, encryptation, all those things that we used to talk about maybe 5 years. Now they're really, really a big trend in the world.
What do you see as the biggest opportunity for global procurement in adding value to a BPO?
Oh, well, that's a good one. Standardization. I believe standardization is a crucial global tool. It takes time and it takes a lot of effort, especially when you work in a large company with a lot of people in a lot of countries that have different schedules and ways of viewing what they do and how they do it on a daily basis. But I think a great result comes out of standardization, and not only because we're all using the same technology, but also communication. We start to communicate better. We get to talk more, and especially our technology starts to communicate. So if we're doing something in India, that technology might be able to communicate to something we're doing in the US because of that standardization. So I think that's crucial, and especially for us, being able to negotiate something standardized, it's easier and it gives us more volume in order to add cost efficiency to what we're negotiating.
How did Teleperformance have to adapt when COVID hit, Diana, and particularly in the area of procurement?
I think about those times and I just go a little bit crazy still. I think our biggest challenge was to get creative with remote working, with remote work, because we already had thoughts and had deployed certain parts of what we call Cloud Campus right now, but it wasn't quite ready to be what it is or what it became in 2020, like within a month. So the IT team, I think they did a very good job getting creative and just throwing out these great ideas and deploying strategies all over. So I think our greatest challenge was just to keep up with them, with what they needed, to be able to still save money throughout all those deployments. I think that was huge. We were negotiating PCs and headsets and hardware and software in parallel while trying to deploy something that had never been done before. I mean, not at that level. So trying to keep up was crazy, not only with teleperformance, but with the market, because there were no PCs or there were no headsets. So we didn't have any of them. So we would just get creative. I remember at some point we were even buying gamer headsets for our agents, even if they were temporary. And I got to see one of the agents on a call, like on a video call, and he had these gamer headsets and they were all colorful and there were sparkles at some point. So I mean, we got creative, and they love them. By the way, they love those headsets. So no issues there. But I think yes, getting creative and being able to keep up with a changing market when COVID hit was quite challenging.
So, something you mentioned there, and something that you and I have discussed quite a bit, is that hot topic of lead times. Obviously, you've addressed there in COVID, it was quite tremendously long lead times. Nothing that we've ever seen before, particularly from an IT procurement perspective. So, how are things now from a lead time perspective in hardware, and what are your alternatives?
Well, a lot of people have asked me how we managed to procure all this last year when
Mhm.
COVID hit. And I think lead times last year were hard, but this year they're just getting super, super hard because the biggest challenge that we're seeing right now is that now that we've done this for a year and a half, we've been able to come to terms with standardization and what we want to be deploying globally. And it's harder to be able to buy a standard globally when it's not the same to be buying whatever headset you could get your hands on. And when you finally have a standard, to be able to have enough to to fulfill whatever need you have. So I think our lead times are harder right now. And the way we're dealing with it, it's we're trying to bring a culture, not that we didn't have it before, but this global culture of forecasting and stocking. And this is something that maybe we had in regions and silos, but as we move to a global company and trying to be more efficient as a global company, we find these challenges of you need to forecast how many computers are you going to need. Plus, we have client demands that come from one day to another, and we also need to be prepared for that. So, I think planning and forecasting has to be a key role in this ever-changing industry now more than ever.
What are the main issues in technical procurement right now?
Um, I would say supply risk mitigation, just to go with my last.
Mm.
I mean, we have spiraling costs, we have logistics changing. One day, one border is closed, the other day is barely open. So we have to juggle all of this. So I would say yes, well, the supply risk mitigation and how to strategically source and to get creative in the current market. It's a daily change. It's a daily challenge for sure.
Diana, we've spoke a lot about BYOD as part of this conversation. What's your perspective on BYOD and its potential in economic, ecological, and social terms?
First of all, I find BYOD to be very useful because we eliminate a key component here of what we've been talking about, which is hardware, which is the laptop, which is the PC. So we're taking that out of the equation. And not only that, but the logistics of getting that PC or laptop to someone with the current border situation that we just discussed, we're taking all of that out of the equation and we're actually able to use something that the user is very friendly with because they use it on a daily basis, or at least they've used it at some point because they have it at home. So economically, there's definitely great things about BYOD, and ecologically, well, now more than ever, we are building PCs and we're building microchips, and we're starting to see an industry that is not able to keep up with the demand of laptops and microchips and all these things that we've never seen before. And I remember last year I was reading an article about this drought they had in Japan and how that was affecting the microchip industry and how they were being way behind with whatever was requested for them. So BYOD is actually able to help us to remove all those parts. And ecologically is great, economically is great, and in social terms, well, I go back to the same thing, right? You're using whatever device you already have at home, and you already know how to use it. So I think BYOD has been a great asset to our current situation.
Teleperformance and ThinScale have been in a partnership for past few years pre-COVID, which often surprises a lot of other clients whenever I speak to them that we were working with you guys on BYOD. What made you choose ThinScale as a partner, and how have we helped Teleperformance globally?
I remember vividly the first time I heard of ThinScale.
Yes.
And I was in a meeting and they told me, well, you need to negotiate with ThinScale. And I was like, what is ThinScale? I really don't know them. And I got briefed on it, but rather quickly because we had a call with you right away. Well, at that point, it was Andrew and Brendan. And I remember I was told, because of course it's not a decision that I make on my own, but I was told by our global CISO and our global CIO, this is a technology that will help us get people to work from home with their own devices. So I remember I asked them, but why do we have to go with them? Are there any other options? And Dev, our global CIO, told me, well, I believe this is the best choice we have in order to overcome whatever challenges we will have throughout this pandemic. And at that point, we thought the pandemic was going to be maybe 2 more months, and that was it. So, of course, it wasn't like that. But I do remember his faith on ThinScale and how it was all what he said was true. I mean, the way him and his team chose ThinScale as a partner was something of a long shot. Even if the pandemic was going to be over in 1 month or two, it's still great to have the BYOD option. So they really did look at the big picture there.
If it's fair to say, Diana, it's particularly unusual for procurement to have a relationship with the Fender. What do you believe the benefits are of a procurement team having a relationship with Fender as you do with us?
You mentioned something earlier that I really liked. You mentioned partnership. And more than a vendor, I think ThinScale has become a partner to us, in all honesty. I feel really comfortable whenever I have calls with whomever it is in your team. You're great at keeping up with our numbers, which are not always as easy because they're ever changing. So the main benefit is to be able to create a partnership with a vendor that you think is going to be a vendor and it turns out to be a great partner, and they help you out with things that you don't even think are possible. So I definitely think that it's not as common to have this partnership, but that is something that I encourage and look for. And I'm very thankful that we have it with ThinScale because I believe that is the new way to work. There's vendors all over. There's a lot of technologies out there that can help you sell or buy whatever it is that you need. But having someone that will not only sell to you, but it actually in sync with you and know what your business needs and how it will develop in the future, that is key. And that is something we need, especially right now in this changing market.
Why do you think it's important for women to join the tech and BPO industries?
Well, I believe women should be involved in all industries. I mean,
absolutely.
That is something that I really believe in and I'm very outspoken about. Yeah. But specifically about tech and the BPO industry, which is what I do for a living, I think it has become one of the most changing industries worldwide. And jobs are always evolving and they translate into growing experiences professionally and personally, and they come with new challenges. So, I mean, I can tell you that my job changes on a daily basis. Whatever I was doing a year ago is not exactly what I'm doing right now because we've evolved. That job has evolved, that description has evolved into something more. And that is something that I really, truly love about this type of work, that it's not something that you're doing on a daily basis and it's the same every day. It's changing and it's challenging. And for any woman out there, this type of challenges, they represent a lot of growth.
Diana, do you think enough is being done to help women get into tech?
Well, sadly, I think we are behind on the development and normalization of women in tech. Yeah. I don't mean that we're not out there because of course we are. I just think that we need to catch up. So eventually it will happen. We will catch up. And this will only happen with help from the industry. For instance, I mean, I do have to say Teleperformance has a great initiative. It's called Keep You Woman. I don't know if you heard about it, but this initiative was launched. Yeah, it was launched, I think it was in 2019. And it celebrates achievements from women all around the globe in teleperformance. And I really, really love that because it celebrates it so much that it makes it part of your culture to just celebrate women being successful. And well, we are aware that women are still a minority in the workplace, and the company is aware of that. And because of that, they are really trying to be a company that has a type of initiatives that defends and normalizes the work we do. So I believe these things will help us catch up with what we said about the years of that we felt that women was behind in this area. So eventually it will catch up, and I'm hopeful for that.
I'm not actually sure that we've ever spoke about this, but in my spare time, I actually mentor two young women who are currently studying business information technology in college. And the reason I do that is because, as you know, I've quite the passion for women in tech and women for women. The other reason why I do that is because I wish that I had a woman mentor back, 15 years ago when I was in college. And there really were not that many mentors. I remember all my college lectures. I don't think any of them were women, particularly in the computer science faculty. So if you're looking back, what advice would you give the younger Diana?
This is a hard one. It's a hard one. It just took me back to when I was in college or barely about to graduate. And I started working at Teleperformance 10 years ago. And I started working as an agent because I had to pay off my student loans. So I saw this job opportunity and I said, why not? I'll just do it. And I thought it was going to be easier than it was because then again, my first language is Spanish. Sure. So you have to take calls for clients in another language. And it became quite a challenge for me. Suddenly I was mute. I couldn't talk. I would get very, very anxious. And I think my advice would be just to be more calm on the phone. And I think eventually I was able to do that and grow within the company, which was great. But I think I would tell myself to be less anxious. That would be my advice to my younger self, even to my current self. Just be less anxious.
In your career to date, what's been your biggest success and what's been your biggest learning?
Well, I think my biggest success would be linked to the last question you asked me. For me, professionally, it has been given the chance to grow within Teleperformance.
Mm-hmm.
I took calls for a little while, then I was moved to recruitment, and then I was moved to procurement.
Yeah.
And from there, I did several areas of procurement. So I see that as a very high success because there's people within the company that have believed in me, and I really love that from Teleperformance, and I have really truly loved that from my job. As for my learning experience, I would have to say that I actually have learned a lot from the people who believed in me, even when I didn't quite believe in myself or believe that I could uh, stop being an agent or be something else within the company. So I really do think I stand in the shoulders of giants, and that is such a great thing to be able to say because I know a lot of people don't have someone that believes in you, and then I come to a company that there's a lot of people that are willing to believe in you as a woman, as a partner, as an employee, and I think that would be both my great success and my biggest learning.
That's a fabulous story to tell as well, Diana, because one thing that I actually love about working with Teleperformance is the culture of what you guys project to yourself and expose and market is really true and can be seen through particularly all the folks that I deal with. And it's very nice to see someone starting off their career in Teleperformance as an agent and 10 years later still being with the company and growing and being in the position that you are. So thanks for sharing that with us. In your experience, does being a woman in your profession come with extra mental challenges? Have you had to overcome these? For example, have you ever had to doubt your own ability because you're a woman?
Oh, gosh, I wish I could say no,
Yeah.
but yes, it has happened. And coming across people that will challenge us, undermine us, or do not believe in us because of a stereotype can happen. And it has happened to me. But also, I believe things are changing for the better. And I have come across great people who have believed in my abilities and have supported me in getting over unfortunate experiences. Uh, I had men support me, I had women support me. So it's it can be a difficult position. As you said, I was an agent and I felt it at some point, and now I'm a global director of procurement and I still feel it at some point. But I feel that this is now been looked at more and more, and now people are actually starting to notice that this is sometimes it's a behavior that was learned and that they didn't even know it was wrong until recently. A lot of advertising about it has come out and a lot of people have spoken out, and these type of interviews they help a lot. So it has happened, but I think it happened to me way less than it would have happened to my mom
Sure.
back in the day. So again, I think we're walking in the right direction. There's still a lot of work to do, and which is why I'm thankful for opportunities to speak out like this one. But yeah, well, it does happen.
Diana, I just wanted to give you the last few minutes of this conversation. If there's anything that you want to share with our audience from any perspective of your own or that of Teleperformances.
Cool. Thanks. Well, thank you, Lauren, for having me and for this interview. I really appreciate how our industry is slowly but surely moving towards diversity and
Yeah.
strong women supporting women and strong men supporting strong women. So I think that makes a huge difference. And I'm very thankful for people like you that are very outspoken about it. And I've only started to work with you recently. I worked with other peers of you before, and that relationship that we've created, ThinScale Teleperformance, I think it has been a great add-on to us, and I hope it has been for you guys too. Because COVID came with a lot of things, and it made us realize technology is a great asset. And thanks to it, we're able to keep on working, and our economy hasn't just gone down the drain. We've had limitations, but we would have had a lot more limitations if we didn't have the type of technology we have and the type of smart people working in technology that we do right now. So I think Cloud Campus is a great asset for Teleperformance, and I think ThinkScales has actually been a great add for our cloud campus initiative. So it's companies like ours that make the difference. It's companies that are committed to the future and believing in people regardless of any stereotypes, that set a great example to other companies to follow, not even in the tech industry, but all industries. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I have really enjoyed this interview, and well, let's keep on talking.
Diana, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you again today. Thank you for your partnership and for Teleperformance's partnership. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Lauren.
Take care.